Welcome to Black Man Lab. We are live Monday, November 2nd, the day before the big day. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for joining. We have a great panel this evening and some great topics to discuss. I have working with me today my brother Joe Barker. Joe.
What's going on, good brothers? Hey, thank you very much for our panelists this evening. And Marty, always great to see you, man.
Same here, brother. And then one of our founders of Black Man Lab and my brother from another mother, brother Mauli Davis. Mauli, you there? Mauli might be having some technical difficulties.
Mauli's juggling as always.
As always, we'll bring him in shortly.
Indeed.
Real quick, I want to give you a little background about Black Man Lab. Black Man Lab started about 4 years ago. A little over 4 years ago now, with brother Mauli Davis and 4 other brothers from the organization of Let Us Make Man, which was really started to just give a kind of a platform for their sons to talk to other like-minded men, because we know that sometimes our sons, they don't necessarily listen to us as fathers, but they might listen to an uncle or a close friend, a godfather, or something of that nature. So that's where it started. And now today, when we're able to meet live, we meet here in Atlanta at the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA, and we have each week, every Monday, a group of panelists that will talk about different subjects, from whether it's career advice, whether it's self-development advice. But we have different experts and different topics each week to give our young black men insight into what could be their future. So that's where it started, and that's where we are today. Now we do everything virtually, which is great also because we're able to bring in brothers from around the country versus just people that are available in Atlanta. So before I get started with everything, Brother Mauli, is there anything you want to jump in with, bro?
You're on mute, brother.
Mauli, you're on mute, bro.
What's up, brothers? Hey man, we're running around the state getting ready for this election protection effort, working with Black Voters Matter, man. So I apologize for my delay, and I'm about to get in a better lit area, man. But this is key and critical. I know that our young brothers are looking for guidance in this space around branding, around being influencers, and to hear from brothers who are doing this and impacting them is what we're trying to do. And we say very clearly, man, is that we just want to shine a bright light on what black men are doing in this world that will encourage, inspire, and enlighten our young brothers that it's all possible. And not only is it possible, it's absolutely necessary that we really get down for ours, because it's our time right now. And the world really needs us as black men to move in a profound way that will impact and help shape the future, and not come from this space of victimhood, but really a space of power. So we appreciate you, brothers. I'm looking forward to learning. I see my man in, Craig King.
And he was so close.
What's up, brother?
Yes. That's my fellow bison there.
What's up, brother?
Hey, Joe, it's very rare that there's more bison than rattlers on here, man. So
Right. You know, I'm gonna be quiet this time. When I heard bison start getting shouted out, I'm like, man, let me keep my rattler mouth shut.
There you go. Hey, but back to what Mauli was talking about. It's essential for not just our communities, but for the world, for us as black men, to be in a position to lift up our own, to be in a position of leadership, because we know that the world is in a better place when we are in a better place, right? So that's what Black Man Lab is really about, and that's what we want to continue to put forward. One of the things that we do each week is we work on getting centered before we start this process, right? We always want to make sure that we are in a space where our minds are clear and we are able to pull in information. So, Brother Barker, if you could just get us centered, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely. I'm glad to. I'm glad to. You know, one of the things that Mauli mentioned and Marty, one of the words, just deliberate, you know, and I like to think deliberate and intentional is what we have to be about our efforts, about our focus, and about, you know, what we are intending to do here. And, you know, to that end, you know, we like to get centered every week. We like to make a deliberate effort to get all the burden of the stress and all the things that we see on social media and the hurt and the pain to receive that, know that it exists, but be centered in terms of how we handle it and how we navigate and move forward. So when we're at the Y, you know, one of the things we do is we just allow brothers who have maybe had a tough week, difficult week, just to come up and get some love, whether it's a hug, whether it's a pat on the back saying you're going to be okay. And we can't be in that space right now, but at the same time, we still want to get ourselves centered and send that brotherly love out to one another. So what I would ask for us to do is just take a couple of deep breaths as we get into this, and as we do this, you know, we breathe in, you know, the love and the brotherhood and the strength from one another, and we breathe out that which is toxic and preventing us from being our best version of ourselves. So I'd ask for us to just take a deep breath on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Just breathe in and exhale that out. Exhale that out. Exhale that. Let that toxic stuff that's been going on, all the things that we're seeing that we feel they're trying to make out of our control, but we know that we're going to be intentional and deliberate about taking control of it and being our best selves. So we send ourselves in that way. So we do it one more time. Let's take one more deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Oh, let it go. And let's enjoy this energy that these brothers are about to come center us with. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that, man. Again, it is very important that we are in the right mental space that we are able to take on um, this information and not only that, but give it, right? So it's real important that we're in that right space. The other thing that we do each week, because we know that none of what we do is a mistake. None of what we do is that came before us. We know that we are standing on the shoulders of many ancestors, whether that is within our family, whether that is somebody from around the world, whether somebody that's somebody from our country. So first and foremost, what we want to do is just put in your mind somebody that you can think of on an international scale that really has been impactful on our community and on our culture. Somebody like Haile Selassie, somebody like Marcus Garvey, somebody that you can think of like Nelson Mandela, somebody that you can think of that has been important to us as a people. Hold them in your heart, and we ask you to raise one fist and say Ashe.
Ashe.
And now we ask you to think about somebody from our country, somebody who's been impactful, significant in being able to push our culture forward. Somebody like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. And again, I ask you to raise your right fist and say Ashe.
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 And then lastly, think about somebody in your family or it's been impactful with your family and your community that is somebody that truly the shoulders of somebody you stand on. Like maybe your mother, your father, your grandmother, your great-grandfather. Just hold that person in your heart right now. Raise your fist up and say, Ashe.
Ashe.
Asheo. Okay. So with that, we brought the ancestors into the space. We are centered. Now, let's get into this discussion. Mm-hmm. And thank you, brothers, for being part of this. Thank you for being part of Black Man Lab. Because once you are in Black Man Lab and have been a guest here, you are therefore part of Black Man Lab going forward. So, first and foremost, I would like everybody to give a quick introduction of yourself, and give a little background on what got you to where you are today, who you are, and what got you to where you are today. And then we're going to dive deep into the discussion. So first, I'm going to start with my brother, Greg King. Craig has been part of Black Man Lab for a long time. He's been a panelist with us before, but he is always insightful in the information that he gives. And most importantly, he is my brother from the great Howard University. So Greg.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How are you all today, man? How are the brothers doing?
What's up, good brother?
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, as I always start out by saying, I'm honored to be here. I will also add that we are entering a really interesting point in this country. So I'm going to make mine real short because what I really don't want to do is make this about me. But I basically come from the music industry and been in it for about 30 years now. And I started off in this space with Quincy Jones and Ray Charles as Ray's organist when I was 20 years old. Coming out of Howard, I kind of skipped a few classes to do that tour, Marty. Sorry about that. But but you know, that's where it all started for me, was with the on tour. And as a result of which I've just been in the industry ever since, as a producer, writer, et cetera, et cetera. Now I'm in the tech and the music industry at the same time. And we have a company called Rapplug, which is what I'm wearing on my chest. We have a few apps, but Rapplug happens to be one of the ones that I've used quite a bit with Black Men's Lab, which is basically a safe space for artists, producers, you know, DJs, choreographers, just you name it, man, the ecosystem of the music industry. We all come together, and it's kind of like the LinkedIn for the music industry. And it's not a gatekeeper situation, it's a gate opener situation. We're very inclusive. We want to give brothers and sisters a way in to the industry without all the smoke and mirrors and all the corruption. So we try to show them a different way, a better way, and create some earlier, good early habits to live by and abide by in this industry, from some industry pros who really know what they're doing, what they're talking about, and also have a heart for this and a heart for our people. So we created this space for our people, man, and we're really excited to open it up to the Black Men's Lab, and we're always excited to be a part of everything that this organization does. In fact, I feel like y'all are my brother company. Y'all are so close to us. So yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
Thank you, bro. And that's an understatement when you say that we are your brother company, because we love working with you, we love having you, and we love having you part of our community. So thank you again, Craig. Next up, see brother Issac Hayes is on.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
What's going on?
Good. Give a quick intro of who you are, man.
Hey, and hold on, brother Isaac, man, you got to talk about this fan base real quick too, bro. I was on Clubhouse and checked you out, bro. That's dope. That's real dope, bro. So make sure you include that, man. We appreciate that. That's what we need to be doing as brothers, man.
Absolutely. So my name's Issac Hayes III. I am by trade a songwriter, producer, and political troublemaker. I'm an Atlanta native, grown up here for a long time, entered the music industry at the age of like 21, found some success there writing a few records, but I really found success in the space of licensing music for TV and film. So I did a lot of TV and film licensing with my music. In about 2008, my dad passed away, who was this singer-songwriter, Issac Hayes. I started managing his estate about 5 years later in 2013. And that gave me time to think about other aspirations while I managed this company for my family. And in that process, I decided to enter into the tech space and build an app. And it's an app called Fanbase. And so Fanbase is a monetization platform. It's an app that allows creators to monetize their content by way of subscribers, but you can also have followers. So it's real unique in the sense that most of the platforms out here that ask people to pay are pay only. And so in that space, um, I wanted to create an option where it allowed content creators, anybody. We all have a fan base. Everybody's a fan of something, and we all have a fan base. So we built the platform. I wanted to not go the traditional VC route because I noticed in the space with tech that Black culture really is what makes social media successful. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. So I applied for a platform called Start Engine that allows you to crowdfund without having to be an accredited investor, which means most of the time when people build platforms, you have to be rich to invest in these companies. So we launched on Friday. This is day 3. We've raised $50,000 in 3 days, on the way to $1 million. And I'm happy to be here and be in the space and talk to all you cool brothers.
Well, thank you, first of all, because we know that you have a whole lot to offer, and you have the nerve to call us cool brothers. You come from a long line of cool brother, so we appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here, and we'll definitely ask more questions and get deeper into the conversation. So,
cool.
Appreciate you. Brother Eric Bigger, you give an introduction of yourself, my man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, the Black Man Lab. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Life is good. Life is great. The attitude is always gratitude. I'm TV personality, fitness trainer, mental health advocate, speaker, author. From Baltimore, Maryland. I've been in LA 10 years. I got my big break on a reality TV series. If you guys watch, or maybe some of your wives or girlfriends, The Bachelorette. So that's how I got a lot of momentum. And from that, I just used my platform to kind of leverage everything. And in July, I released a book called Transformation. Change your mindset, change your energy, change your life. And I'm all about providing information to change situations and allowing our brothers and sisters and people of all walks of life, teaching them how to evolve from within, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, giving them the tools, giving them, the procedures and things of how I do it. But I'm all about helping, man. Self-help industry has helped me so much. And I've come a long way in life, and I just want to give back and help people get to where they want to go, and be empowering, be inspiring. And I'm happy to be here at the Black Man Lab, sharing my story and information for people out there. So thanks for having me, fellas.
And we are so appreciative to have you here, brother. And again, us having the ability to do this virtually allows us to bring in, somebody like yourself who's out in LA. So we truly appreciate you being here, and we know that you have some good energy and information to offer. So thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Who we missing? Oh, Brother Sturgess. Oh, we lost him. You're on mute, brother. There you are.
All right. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Good to see you.
What's up, bro? Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having me, man. I'm happy to be here. Shout out to Eldridge for inviting me. I'm a radio personality from South Side of Atlanta. Man, I was basically like born in the game, really. My dad was a DJ, and I was one of them kids who was always reading the source and everything. And from there, from there, I just got into the radio game. I'm a radio personality here at B103. Shout out to Attorney Davis, and shout out to Issac Hayes. I've both met, and some other you gentlemen I've heard of, definitely, I've just been in the game forever, probably like 7 years now, and like one of my things is really just to give back, because a lot of people in my age group, so me being a millennial, a lot of people really aren't in the position that I'm in. So, I always really try, to give back in whatever way, and then definitely whatever capacity I can. one thing I've learned just being in this game is that like a lot of youth, they are addicted to the hustle and bustle, just like many of us are, but they really don't have a target. You know what I'm saying? They don't know really what to go after. You know what I'm saying? So like I always try to really just aid in whatever way I can. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a very diverse background. So I saw a lot coming up from the streets to being the son of a prominent Black pastor. So I was able to see a lot. And I'm just happy to be here and ready to help in whatever way I can.
Man, thank you, bro. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see all you brothers. And we're, one of the things we just want to jump right in. And when people talk about branding, like certain generations, like to have a brand is almost like a taboo, but I think we're in a different space where branding, building your brand, saying who you are, what you're about is really it's what it is. Like I wear a bow tie all the time, right? I go to sleep in a bow tie. That's part of my brand, right? But it's bigger than that, right? Talk, if you would, each of you brothers, and I want to start with you, brother Eric. You're out in LA from Baltimore. You get your break on the reality television show, but that doesn't define who you are. How do you expand your brand? Because people will box you in. They'll say, "Oh, you just a lawyer." Nah, bro, I was organizing before I ever became a lawyer, right? And so, how do you make sure that your brand is encompassing of the totality of who you are, and you don't allow people to just box you in? Just go there, and then we're gonna, just let everybody kind of touch on that, so brothers can understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like I've always been on a journey of evolving and becoming more than what statistics say. Growing up in Baltimore, you even sell dope or you got a jump shot, you play ball. The men in my family were kingpins, so I come from that cloth. But I knew I wanted something different. And my break came 7 years being in LA, where I struggled and did every job under the sun, from Uber to work at the nightclub and promo modeling and background acting. So I went through some things before I got my big break. So I had information and experience of what not to do, what I don't want. So when I got the platform, I mean, it was so surreal because I was like, damn, it's really happening. But I think for most young fellas and women and all, you got to know who you are. Who are you? What do you want? And for me, it was all about being intentional. And the root of my being is to help people transform. So it's like, what does that look like? How do I manifest it? How do I bring that to light? And so my intentions was, what I was telling my manager post show, we got a PR, we did, a publicist really helped me out a lot. Post show, I had like 80 publications. You could Google me. I went to like all these celebrity games, meeting all these people. I really was networking, and these people was put me in position. I take something out of Gary Vee's book, Gary Vaynerchuk, and he calls it platform hacking. So like, the first year off the show, I met someone at the radio station. She actually got me a deal with the LA County Department of Mental Health, and we did suicide prevention walk. I didn't know anything about that. Like, what is that about? Why do you have to be a somebody to be invited or get the awareness of it? So from there, I'm like, yo, it's so much going on, so many things I can do. I want to be a part of that. I want to know more. I want to know about, mental health and depression, who suffers, who doesn't. And I think for me, it was all like, I want to be everywhere. If it's TV, if it's health, if it's commercials, if it's promo, whatever it is that represents my brand for who I am. And my brand before the show was motivation and inspiration. I did videos every day on Instagram. Motivation Monday, Wisdom Wednesday, What's Positive Friday. And it was 15 seconds at the time. I was nobody to nobody, but I was somebody to everybody once I got on the show. The funny thing is, when I got off the show, I had 3,600 posts. I deleted damn near 3,500 of those posts. So nobody on TV knew me for the motivational guy, the guy who helps, the guy who's driven, the guy who comes from Baltimore. Blah, blah. They say, oh, this guy is charming, he's from Baltimore. And everyone thinks I'm the suburban kid. Well, I'm really from the hood. You know what I'm saying? So understanding the perception of what they see and using what I already have, it just made me evolve even more. And I was just kind of using the best of both worlds and having a predominantly white audience, being Black, understanding the urban community, going to a HBCU. I went to Hampton University, graduating with honors. I just use everything I learned and put it in a bag, and I let the world see it. And so I'll give one last thing and I'll let the other guys go. So with social media, it was big. For my in-feed page, the intentions is I want my stuff to look like a commercial or billboard. Or a nice car. If you see a nice Lambo or Ferrari, you're gonna want to take a photo in front of it, right? So inside of your car is who you are. So inside of your story on social media, Instagram, you're showing people who you are. I'm motivating, I'm positive, I'm funny, I like watches, I like gummy bears. Like I'm giving people a little bit of everything. I'm not just this guy with a face that was on a show. No, I read books. No, I'm a nerd. I'm into numerology. I'm into astrology. I love life. I love living. I'm spiritual. This is who I am. So when you're giving people those depths of who you are, then energy and new things come. And last but not least, the hardest thing we'll do in life is work on ourselves. That's the hardest job you'll go to every day, is working on yourself. And that's how you attract the opportunity. People think working on the job is how you get the money. Yeah, you'll make the money, but you'll hit a point. But when you work on yourself and you evolve internally, external things will just come and you be like, yo, because it's the frequency you're in. So I pride myself on doing the work, sacrificing, being disciplined, but owning my truths, living and giving. And I think it's simple, but it's not easy. And anyone can do it if they're willing to do the work. And that's what it's all about, is working, even when you don't want to do the work. And eventually you'll evolve. You know?
I hear you. I appreciate that. And I would not allow Craig, King, or Marty to say that you went to the other HU.
Yeah.
I would not let him. I just wouldn't let him do it, bro.
You guys, please forgive me, Jesus.
Look, man, we have all of those.
You got close.
I know we got all of those HBCU rivalries, man. Y'all be clicking up like gangs, bro. Isaac, man, I want you to talk about your brand. I grew up on the South Side of Chicago, the son of a Harlem Globetrotter. And so to like escape that shadow, like I was supposed to be the baller, but you know, that wasn't my lane like that. And I had to allow myself to be who I am authentically, you know? So I was always Lil Mel, right? From Big Mel. How have you been able to establish your own unique brand? Wow. You know, and I've always embraced my dad's legacy, you know, in terms of just Chicago hoop culture. You know, I didn't run from it, but I also wanted to be my own person, my own brand. How have you been able to do that? And just tell the young brothers and sisters that are out there kind of what has helped you shape your brand of who you are and what's important to you and what you want the world to see about you.
I think for me, it was like time. Like I think as a youngster, I left high school. I graduated high school a little bit early because I wanted to enter into the music industry. And I worked on a project with my sister as a demo, and it did really, really well, but we didn't find immediate success. So I paused for a second. I was like, well, I don't want to go to college. So I went and got a 9-to-5 job at this place called the Linen Loft. Anybody grew up in Atlanta, it was like Bed Bath & Beyond before they got here. I worked there for like 2 years, you know, caught the bus, rain, sleet, or snow, like all the way from like Ponce all the way to like Amwile Industry, which is like, it took me about an hour and a half to get to work every day for like 2 years. And being in that environment for those 2 years really affirmed the fact that this isn't what I wanted to do for my life. So I left and said, there's two things that I never want to do again: work for another person and ride public transportation. Because it was so hard to get to work. It was the worst. I'm telling you, it was the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst.
Marta.
So I left and I quit my job in February 1996, and I never went back. So I haven't ridden the bus since, and I haven't had a boss since. So I was a shy person though, really, really shy. And so getting into the music industry, you can't really be shy. You can be shy, but you can't be shy if you want to be successful. So my brand really developed when I got over being a shy person. There was this personality in me that was really, you know, I guess in there, ready to come out. My manager said, you can sit in a room all day long and make beats, but if you don't get out there and talk about them and let people know that you have this talent, you're just going to be a guy with a bunch of beats on a DAT tape. And I took that And I you know, really took that very seriously. Like, you know what? Exactly right. Like, I got to get over this fear that I have, or this, you know, this anxiety and this, I guess, this shyness that I got. And so it really allowed me to open up and feel comfortable about being myself. And then through that, doing music, um, you know, you're never going to be as good as your dad. Like, my dad's first Black person to win an Oscar, first Black man to have a platinum album. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, well, that's out of the picture. Like, don't even try to do that. Like, all right, cool. But I could still make a career. But the further I got into the music business, right, I realized, you know, two things, which is, one, I don't have to be my father to be great. And secondly, but I will be great because of him, right? So I can apply, you know, what the gifts that he has as a creative person, as a person that persevered, worked hard, worked from the bottom and made it. So it's the same. Once I got out of the music space specifically, I worked on the mayor's campaign here in Atlanta, and I started applying my skill sets for marketing and social media in that space, and we were successful. We won an election. We weren't supposed to win. Keisha Lance Bottom became the mayor, and then, you know, subsequently I've worked on multiple campaigns, including this current campaign, which we're still working on right now, for president, for Biden and Harris. And so I just knew that, like, it was a breath of fresh air to be able to do different things. So my brand just evolved from not being so locked into the music space and just trying different things. So that's really how I got to this position. Is really just a person that said, you can try and fail, or try and try again, and it doesn't matter. So, and then being Black, right? Good fortune of being in Atlanta, unapologetically Black. I'm pro-Black. Everything I support and do, I want to be about Black people. So that's kind of how my brand has been, a little bit of political satire, humor, and just complete Blackness.
Man, I appreciate that. And just know that I will have a conversation. I've talked to my dad. He's 83 and in Vancouver, kind of holding on, you know. And I'm gonna have to holler at him. Is that I don't have to be my father to be great, but I can be great because of him. Those are powerful words. I'm passing that to my son, because my son's in law school, and that's gonna help. That's gonna run. I'm gonna give you credit the first time. You know, now when I use it the second and third time, bro, I'm just gonna be like, it's mine.
Hey, Miles, I wrote it down too. I wrote it down too. I'm gonna steal that one.
DJ Sturgess rocking your Clayco shirt. Is that a Clayco hat too, man? I mean, what are you matching it all up, bro? That's I'm like, okay, that's that Clayco, man. I had my very first my second law office was down in Clayco, and boy, it was when Clayco was banging.
Eventful.
Oh yeah, folks, man, folks be slipping. Like, you know, it was straight.
Yeah,
Cats was dropping people, man. So you know, fortunately, I got out of that criminal defense work. But man, talk about your journey to your brand, who you want the world to see, and who you are becoming. Because I think that there's always a little bit, and I'm just speaking for myself, there's always this slight disconnect between who the world sees, who I'm working on being, and who I actually am, right? Like who my wife and kids see versus who the world see, and then who's in my own head and spirit, you know. So talk about it, man, and share your journey and where you are.
Well, I think the unique part about me and me being in this discussion is the fact that, like, my brand is still developing, but it's developing more at a rapid pace, I would say, these days. But like when I first got into the radio game, coming in as an intern, everybody thought I was just so mild-mannered and cool and laid back. And then first started my show, I was Mr. Liddy in the city. You know what I'm saying? He's the party guy. He's this, he's that. And then I did 3 giveaways in Clayton County, and then he's a real good community guy. He's great with the kids. He's that guy, you know. And then I just really just started doing more. That's all, you know what I'm saying? Because I always knew I was diverse and I was like a pot of gumbo low key, you know what I'm saying? So I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna do more, you know. And then I started a podcast, Cuffing Season Chronicles. Hella ratchet, you know what I'm saying? I started doing interviews, just like a lot of people do interviews and everything, but like a lot of people was really just centering around Atlanta. You know, hip hop was bigger than that, you know what I'm saying? And I was a fan of hip hop in general. It didn't matter what region it came from. So I started really just tapping in with other people and even people who weren't even artists. I interviewed Isaac about a year ago at his studio, you know what I'm saying? You know, so just really just doing more, but I'm also just piggybacking off of Eric and Isaac, you know, like what Eric said, you know, as far as just growing more, you know, I had to grow into being a radio personality, you know what I'm saying? I was real introverted, you know, I didn't know how to talk to people necessarily. So I had to learn how to do that, you know, and so I just had to grow as a person, you know what I'm saying, and as a man, you know, because sometimes as millennials, we get so caught up in, let's just try to make this happen, let's make these plays, let's get this dream job or whatever, let's get on, and you're not taking care of yourself. And a job as being a radio personality, you really have to be transparent, you know what I'm saying, because people can tell when you're being fake, you know, so I guess I had to grow more individually, and I'm still growing. You know, I just started a fast of no alcohol yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't even do that no other time, but you know, I just had to do something. Also, just like what Isaac was saying, you know what I'm saying, you know, just speak up. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like at one point, I was probably on the air at B103 maybe 8 months. And I realized, I was like, you know what, I'm doing great, but people don't know me like that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to really get out, you know, and just start shaking hands and really start speaking, you know what I'm saying? So like, I just really just started doing more, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but just really challenging myself, because there's one thing for the world to put in the box, but when you put yourself in the box, that's a whole nother, you know, and I think sometimes I fell into the latter, you know what I'm saying, putting myself into a box, you know what I'm saying? So I really just started doing more and showing more, you know, just bit by bit, you know, and, you know, from there, people start seeing that, yeah, he can go down to Riverdale, Projects in Riverdale and kick it with everybody. He cool. But yeah, he can also go to church and everybody, grandma and mama know him, you know what I'm saying? You know, he can recite these Bible verses too. So, you know, I just really just started doing more, showing more, you know, and just really, you know, I think part of, you know what I'm saying, really getting your brand to where you want it to be is really just spreading them wings, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, really fully doing it, you know what I'm saying, to the fullest of it, you know. That's what it
Yeah,
is for me.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. When I was in the Navy, a brother said that he had become a chief. Like a chief petty officer is a big thing when you go from being like a petty officer to a chief. You put on a different uniform or what have you. And the advice he got from a master chief was that it's going to take time for you to grow into your anchors. So you putting it on, right? So you walking around in the uniform, but you haven't grown into it yet. And so I think we're all
Hmm.
continuing to grow into those spaces. And it's great for you to recognize that as a young brother and say that. Because a lot of these young cats, man, they think that it's got to be right now. They got to be fully developed. You know,
Hmm.
like they come out the womb like, what up? You know, even in the activist world, folk come out
Hmm.
fist up in the air, and I'm like, bro, what book have you read? You know, who you studied under? You know, they spouting Malcolm X
Hmm.
rhetoric, and I'm like, yo, you talking about Malcolm from 1960? You know, he lived a few more years. Like, keep, you know, give us all
Hmm.
Malcolm. Don't give that little piece. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Craig
Thank you.
King. Craig King, what's up, brother? Lean on in, man. Take us off of mute.
Yes, sir.
Jump in, man, and just talk about you know, your evolution in terms of your brand, particularly what you've done with Rapplug, man, and just how, you know, it's very rare. There are brothers that I see wearing their Nelia, and that Nelia being their company, it's a part of them, and you're one of them. And you rep it, you let it be known. Hey, this is a part of who I am and what I'm building. Talk about your brand and as it relates to Rapplug and just the vision and the energy that you put into it.
Well, you know, let me say this first, man. You know, the I was listening to other brothers talk just now, and I had some interesting thoughts about what I heard there. One of the things I realized over time about myself, this is really about a whole lot of self-inventory for me. I have to be honest with you. I'm more introspective now about kind of how I want to be seen. You mentioned it. Isaac mentioned the sort of the not talking a lot in the beginning. I feel like I default naturally to being an introvert. But what's happened over time is that I learned a few things from working with, and I'm going to tell you the people who really kind of got me started in this space too, while I put this out there. Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. For those who don't know in the younger community, that would be Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff. But Jeff was more of an introvert. Will was more of the extrovert. Jeff and Will both had super talent, but Will was the one that was out in front, right? And so I had a whole lot more Jeff in me. So I felt more comfortable around Jeff. So we, everything we did, we kind of like locked in. Radio stations that we've always locked because we had a certain, almost a nonverbal way to communicate because we were both all about just doing the work, showing up and doing the work. I don't care if the lights are on me or not. And so I carried that through most of my career, man. Just kind of like, don't try to see me. Just let me do the work. Let me get on the record. Let me get the placement. Let me get the single. That was always my thing, man. And I watched other people like Diddy, who was at Howard with me. He was the absolute opposite, right? And as a result of which created a voice. And, God bless him. Everybody ain't built that way. So I watched that. I was like, that's great for you. But that ain't what I do. You know what I mean? But I watched that over time. And as I got deeper into the game, I realized people were really not going to stop and care about what you cared about unless you spoke about it. They just weren't, no matter how much you cared about it. So I started joining philanthropic organizations along with you guys. I created Gentle King, which is another tech part of my company. Then I partnered with Mimic, which you'll be seeing more about soon, which is a whole gaming part of my tech space. And in Rapplug, which is right, you're right, I do wear that on my chest. But the reason why I felt like I had to really lean in on that brand more was because as we began to build it, the people came. And I realized as they came, there needed to be leadership in that space. I couldn't just let that voice sit there and I'm not knocking my business partner, but I didn't want it to be strictly youthful. I needed it to have some experience built in there too. And some mentorship built in there too. Things that we had learned over the years, brothers. So I needed to apply some of those nutrients to this space. And so as this brand began to build, that voice became necessary, to be honest with you. So it may look like I'm all about, hey, I'm just out here promoting the brand, but it's really deeper than that. It's also, and you know this, we've been doing a lot of things together, but it's really a whole lot more about how can we feed the next generation. I'm grateful that the company is acting as a lightning rod and it's attracting, and we have whatever many interns or whatever many staff members or partnerships with whomever. I'm grateful for all of that, man. But there is a space in our community for more seasoned brothers to communicate and hold the hands and lock arms with our younger brothers and sisters and have different kinds of conversations outside of music, to be honest with you, outside of that. So I feel like the brand that I've been creating is really more true to who I really am anyway. It's just that social media is accelerating it. Because before now, I think I was doing these kinds of conversations strictly on panels inside brick and mortar. Now we're being forced to have conversations virtually. We're building this platform where people are joining constantly. We just hit 11,000 members, subscribers. It's growing. And now we're bringing on a couple of bigger names who just partnered with us. So I have a feeling that the brand is going to continue to grow. But what I want to make sure we do is have those partnerships with brothers like yourselves and Isaac, for sure. People who have real bandwidth in this space, understand the industry, but also understand the plight of the Black man. I got to keep it. I'm going to say one last thing to that, man, and that is, I was just having this conversation with a brother today that you happen to know over at Stanford. You know him, but anyway, we were talking about the fact that there are a lot of brothers in this industry who have success in the sort of overt way, But internally, man, they're really, really spaced out. They're so cracked, they're so fractured, they're so broken. And what's even worse is that once this success tapers off, they're not going to even know where to go. And they don't even have a sense of self because they've been defining themselves through these last few records. So we've got a lot of work to do in that space. And I'm always open to do it, but I'm always looking for help in that space because I feel like these young brothers have a louder voice in some ways than we do because they're working on the most current albums with the youngest artists. And they have, they're getting 300 comments or 5,000 comments every post. Those guys have a lot of influence. And they're the main ones saying really interesting things. I'll say very peculiar things right now about the election. So I'm like, man, we're not talking enough to these cats because that shouldn't have come out of his mouth just now. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that. I know you asked me about my influence, but I really want to talk about how I leverage this influence to influence influencers.
Yeah. Nah, that's strong. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Marty. But that's strong, Craig. And I guess from my perspective, I just feel like the role that those of us who are a little more seasoned, and I'm not saying we old, but those of us, man, we've been through some things that we have a responsibility to reach to these cats and say, hey, bro, let me school you on game. That's what the old cats used to do in our neighborhood. They pull you to the side on a number of issues, whether it's from hooping to seeing how you dealing with your girl while y'all in the park. You were in the park and you talking kind of like, oh, young boy, and so we just have to have spaces, intentional spaces that we're creating for these dialogues to happen in a way that's non-threatening. Because I ain't trying to, by the time these brothers say certain things, if you come at them, now you fronting on them. And now people are saying, well, why you hating on them? But we really got to have a conversation on the front end so they don't come out of mouth wrong. Because it's like you ain't been in the game in around the work around saving Black people. Because you make a record doesn't make you an activist or an organizer because you on a TV show. It's really, we got to evolve into those spaces, man. So I appreciate that, man. I look forward to us all being able to have those sit downs beforehand so that we don't find ourselves in these kind of crazy situations. So Marty, man, go ahead, man. I've talked too long. No, y'all know we only got 24 minutes left.
You know how we do. We're subject to go long, man, but especially when it gets to be a great topic like this. Craig, you touched on kind of what I was going to lead to, which is, we talk about influencing the influencer, right? So we have a bunch of people that are out there right now, young Black men specifically, that are influencing opinion. And to Mauli's point, a lot of times they're a bit misguided sometimes, but they have the right intention, but they're misguided because we don't have folks like this panel or even, a wider breadth of people that are giving those guys good information. So I'm gonna lead this around the group here. Talk about what do you see your ability is to influence the influencers so that they are being actual true leaders for our communities. Eric, I'll start with you.
I think for me, it's all about perspective, right? And giving people what I've been through. Because I think we live in a world where we like to generalize topics like what love is, what success is, what politics is, and it's cool, right? But what I've understand and I noticed is that we all living from our paradigm, right? From our perspective, what we've been through, what we know, what we believe, and I always say what we believe is real. So for me, when you think about influence, I always ask myself the question, if I'm an influencer, if I'm influencing people, who is my influence? And I think the young cats, the rappers, the artists, whoever coming up, I think the question should be, who is your influence? Who do you look up to? Who are your idols and why? Why are you motivated by this? And for me, I just go for positivity, self-help, disciplining yourself, and work. Like I think one of the brothers said, you know, Craig, he was like the work, you know, he's an introvert and he's all about the work. Let me do the work. And I think, you know, another brother said, people want to skip the work and want the reward. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. So it's like, what work are you doing behind closed doors? There's a quote that says, you will be rewarded for in public, which you practice in private. So when the doors are closed, what's your integrity? When the doors are closed, what are you practicing? What do you believe in? How are you acting? You know, the world sees one person, but who are you really? And I think there's a disconnect with the individual. We don't really know who we are. We like to define ourselves based on our identity, based on our profession. But what you do is actually not who you are. So every day I wake up, I say, you know, Eric, who are you? How can you add value to your community, to your surroundings, to yourself? What does that look like? What does that feel like? You know, I pray, I ask for guidance. But that's my perspective. That's my life. And so I would challenge some of the guys on here and people that might listen and watching, like, think about that. Ask yourself some empowering questions on how you can lead and influence. And what does it look like? What does it feel like? You could be dancing. That's a way to influence. And your dancing can heal people. You could do comedy. You can write books. But if it's authentic, it's organic, it's real, and it's loving and it's giving, I think that's a way to influence your community and people around you. And I think when you start with self, you can help everyone else.
I completely agree, and I think that what you're touching on there is ultimately as we talk about ourselves, and I'm in this space right now as we talk about ourselves, and you think about the I. It really, when you're really thinking about the I, what it should be about is the you, and the you being the rest of the world, the rest of the community that you're in, because that's what truly brings back realness to yourself, right? When you know that you have done some work or you are doing something to actually affect other lives in a positive way, then that value is really there for you, right? And then when you ask yourself, you know, Eric, who am I? You have a better understanding of who that is. So that's dope, man. Appreciate that. Brother Isaac, how about you?
Um, well, I mean, I've often been called the influencer's influencer. My following is, you know, pretty small on social media, but you know, I like to think that people come to me in times to really kind of understand or get a perspective that they know is not like malicious, even if it is controversial or counter to what people think. And I've always like, you know, wanted to be that type of person because I'm a very fact-based individual. I don't like to debate from a perspective of opinion because I feel like that could go on forever. But if we're trying to find solutions in what we're doing, let's get to the truth, because really the truth is really what matters. And so, um, you know, I get phone calls from time to time from anybody you can think of, Killer Mike, Snoop Dogg, it don't matter. Like people hit my line and be like, yo, like, how do you feel about this? Or like, let me tell you my side or whatever. And so I know that I see my effect on people that are in the space because I can see that some of the things that even the content that I create, I'll see it and it'll get shared by the masses, and that's fine with me. It's fine if T.I. or Snoop or somebody takes something that I have and shares it with their audience, because that's their power. Their platform is they are the magnifier for the you know, magnificent people that they are. So we work hand in hand together, and I think that helped us enormously in this election with Keisha Lance Bottoms in 2017. That really helped us doing that. So for me to be influential, you have to be authentic. You got to be honest, and you can't be like, like I said, it may be things that people don't agree with, but I think for me, people know it comes from a space of truth and perspective. Like I want the best for whoever. If I come at Ice Cube, I can be disappointed in Ice Cube, but it's gonna be some truth to what I say. It's not gonna be just because I want to hate on Ice Cube. It's like, yo, this is a critical time we're at. I read your plan. You didn't have an answer for the other plan. Like, you know, because his influence is powerful too. And so in situations like that, I try to warn people, you know, that you can be used as a prop. And I think that they have tried to use black men as props in this election. And just because you may feel like you're doing good, the little good that you think you may be doing is really causing more damage, because your association to negativity in situations like this is so problematic, because it's the visual. And as soon as you get close enough to like even that side of the game, that's when they put your name on stuff, send it out and say, yeah, that's our guy, he's with us. And then you have to, now you're backpedaling, defending the entire association the entire time. So for me, it's just like, I know where I fit in, you know, I know where my power lies, and I'm comfortable in that space. And I like that, because I pride myself on at least being someone that is interested in politics and Black culture to inform people. You know, I just have this unique perspective, so I feel like it's a little bit of an advantage. And I feel like even being from Atlanta, just got a little bit of an advantage, because we see things a little differently than other places by being Black. Because we just had so many examples of real Black success from not like an entertainment perspective, but a real grassroots political, let's change Black people's lives perspective. So a lot of that rubs off on a lot of the people in the city. So that's really something that's just totally advantageous to us and our culture. And I think that's dope. And that in turn is allowed to influence people outside of that circle.
Man, that's beautiful in that, you know, you have those connections to be able to be upfront and honest with, you know, like you were just talking about Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Imagine if the likes of Ice Cube, P. Diddy, all those that are out there that have had some public forum and opinion. Imagine if those people were better informed by somebody like yourself or whoever, you know, maybe Mowley, somebody that has done some history work. Imagine if they were better informed and were able to coalesce with their different powers and what they could bring to the table, then rather than going back to that I thing of just thinking about kind of, well, here's what I think, getting out in front, right? I always struggle with, is that an ego thing?
Yes.
Or were you really looking to help the community?
No, that's what I call exceptional Black man syndrome.
Yeah.
And what I mean by exceptional Black man syndrome is people that achieve an enormous level of fame and success have to walk very lightly, because their footprint is massive. And the moves you make, you can kick over other people's sandcastles when you're not even trying to, right? So when you're Jay-Z and you mean well and you say, we're past kneeling, no, we're not. You're past kneeling, because that statement alone kicks over Colin Kaepernick's sandcastle. And in turn, it comes back to bite you in the end, because really now everybody's kneeling. So obviously with George Floyd, we were not past kneeling. And so the same thing when Diddy, who has corrected his stance, but says, we're holding the Black vote hostage. No, you're holding your vote hostage. You don't speak for me and I don't speak for you. And so I think that people in those positions make the mistake that since they've achieved a certain level of success, that they have garnered the authority to speak on behalf of all Black people. And that's not the case. We can't do that. We're still all individuals. You have your influence and perspective, and leverage that in ways that you can use your voice individually, right? And I think, you know, to do what you want to do, but don't try to drag along everybody else because you are Black in a situation like that. You just got to be careful.
And the carefulness comes in that there are people that are uninformed that will follow what they have to say.
Absolutely.
Right.
I gotta
and jump that level of influence. Go, Miles.
I gotta jump in, because one of the things that Black Man Lab has allowed us to do when we meet in person is to stay connected with the young brothers that are in those spaces. And I think you can reach a level of success where you disconnect from the day-to-day struggle of your people. And when we talk about in organizing spaces, that we have to always be informed by those that are most impacted by the decisions. And so the reality is this: those of us that are on this panel, on this call, quite frankly, to some degree, what happens tomorrow, we're going to get up the next day. We're going to be able to continue regardless of who's in the White House, we're gonna be able to continue to live our lives and to breathe and to do our thing. But there are some folk in our community that are in a very vulnerable position that this is literally a life or death election. And so because we've been so disconnected, that's why we got to stay. They say stay close to the fire of our people because it will warm you and help you be clear about what our people's needs are. And ultimately, I love the exceptional Black man syndrome. I mean, the reality is that so many of us suffer from it. And that's why, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC's model of indigenous leadership is always something that's influencing our work, that is not this hierarchy, from the top down, but instead, how do we reach the bottom, learn from them, and then come up together? But I'm sorry, Marty, I had to jump in, man, because now at that point, Isaac is on, man. Everybody has spoken to the reality of staying connected to our people in authentic ways, not to be honest. You got to be authentic. To be authentic, you can't lose the fabric of who you are in terms of your connectivity with other Black people.
Yeah, and rest in peace. And shout out to somebody that probably did that better than anyone was Nipsey Hussle. Like, shout out to somebody that did it probably, I mean, that's, what I'm saying, his authenticity was so real, being in his community the way that he was. That's a model for like anyone in the position that's striving to achieve success, to look at a brother like that his intention was always about his people first, regardless. It's not like, I don't think Nipsey was the guy that wanted to move to the Hollywood Hills and be as far away from Black people as he possibly could. I think he wanted to have a presence in his community, which was impactful and is still and will always be impactful, regardless. I mean, his legacy will be remembered for him being a man of the people. And we have people like that even in Atlanta, like Killer Mike is someone like that too as well. Mike gets a little controversial, but he absolutely means well. But I know for a fact he doesn't have exceptional Black man syndrome, right? He will instruct, but he will not speak on behalf of all Black people. He will say, this is what we need to be doing. Like, let's try to do this. Let's have these conversations. But everybody's susceptible though. It can happen at any moment. Somebody can say, you know what, this is it. But we don't really want to mess ourselves up in that fashion and be careful. So,
but you got to tell him, man, to stop kicking it with the governor, man. He can't kick it with the governor like this, man. We're gonna need him later.
Right? It's the same thing with Mike. And one of my friends had a conversation with Mike after that too. It's like the next day he's posting pictures at the barbershop and he's leveraging your celebrity to have some sort of capital. And I'm not gonna say that's not even a white or Black thing. That's just a political thing. That's just like, let me show them that I'm with this side or that side. That's politics, right? And so you can't be allowing yourself to be used in that fashion as a pawn. And there's plenty of times, there's plenty of conversations that I've been invited to. And I'm like, hell no, I ain't going down there. There's no way. You won't catch me within 100 yards of that dude, except to say, hell no. So I understand that, you got to know. So yeah, we got to be more careful.
And I think the key and one of the themes that we have going here as we talk about branding and influencing, because that's what this was about, this panel was about, is the undertone of being authentic. At the end of the day, the only reason that your brand truly works and your level of influence truly works is your level of authenticity, right? Howley Davis is extremely successful attorney here in Atlanta. Well respected and all that. And I know, obviously we've been grown up as kids together, but I know that the reason that works is because of his level of authenticness that he had. And that's the same for you brothers as well, is that because you are so authentic, that you have this level of respect that comes, people are drawn to you. The other folks that are influencers out there, and I don't want to call them fake influencers, but people that are influencing right now and don't have a true level of authentic, way about them is going to burn out. We've seen that. We've seen people that for a hot second were really popular and then boom, gone, right? But it's gone because authenticity of that person is not true. I just wanted to say that because I keep hearing that same theme, and I know that is the actual answer. That's the answer, period. When you're, as a business person, as a person in the community, that's always the answer, is being authentic. Whether you're extrovert or introvert, that's the answer. Craig, real quick, man, because we are already up against the clock. I can't believe the way time flies when we have great topics. Craig, real quick, talk about how you build influencers, because I think that in the line of work that you're doing, right? Obviously with Rapplug, there's that's your baby and all that. Now you have all these branch offs, but you can't be everywhere all the time. So you have to build other leaders, which is making them be influencers to get people to do and be what you want them to be. Talk about that. What do you do?
Man, you know what, Marty, that might be a good question for somebody else, only because I need to go back a little bit. If you don't mind, I just need to go back a little bit because
please.
I have a question I wanted to ask as opposed to giving you an answer. I had a question to the brethren on here. So I'm gonna act like we're at the Andrew Young Y right now and ask a question. And y'all know I do this because at this moment I don't even have the full answer. But let me just put this out there. And there's a lot of bandwidth on here, so I'm gonna throw this out there. I have 3 people who are I would consider associates who I thought were fairly enlightened over the last few weeks, who have proven me wrong by being allowed to be leveraged by groups that are not of our interest. And they have built brands. And to be frank with you, they were building brands without even being aware that they were building brands, because they were really just trying to get to the bag. These are not quote unquote artists. These are like cats that have created philanthropic organizations. Y'all probably know some of them. I won't even throw any names out there, but they've built some organizations. And as they've built them, there are other entities that are now leveraging them, putting money in their pockets and telling them, you rock with us. Tell everybody you rock with us. And I go and I visit these cats now that they done got 1.5 million or $750,000 worth of whatever. And one's in Nashville, one's Memphis, one's here. And I'm like, yo, you told me we were gonna have a meeting about a collaboration. I just found out you're partners with this whole other entity that really absolutely hates my people, for real, for real. But you're saying I'm being true to myself. I'm being real with me. I'm being authentic. So my question is, and I know the work is being done, but I don't know at the level we're doing it, because my fear right now is that there is a greater disconnect in our community than I actually thought there was. I'm being real right now, because I'm being totally shocked by some of the people who are reaching out to me, who are leaning into the other directions that don't mean us any good, and they have brands in our community, and they're being bought off, and they're telling me, nah, I'm not being bought, bro. I really feel like this, but you didn't feel like this last year. So I'm gonna need a little help. I want to ask you a question, Marty, but I need so much help on this one. Now I'm coming to y'all now as the Council of Nicaea. I need y'all black men to help me understand this before I hurt somebody out here, because I literally was about to partner with one of them with APS the other day, and he made me watch a video and said, Craig, they calling me coon, man. I can't believe these people calling me coon. This is good work I'm doing. And I realized what he's doing is really cooning. He's straight cooning. So help.
Molly, I'm gonna jump first.
I'm on the Isaac. Isaac was rearing up at Eric. I'm a hold, Craig. I'm a hold.
I just gotta say one quick thing, and I'm gonna let them go.
I'm a back clean up.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it, and then everybody go.
Okay.
First and foremost, I would say this. This comes from brothers with the I complex. Back to what you were talking about before, Issac Hayes. Is that this is they see the bag, and now they're trying to make it be, well, I'm trying to help the community. I'm doing more than what other people are doing. I, right? And the reality of it is all they're really doing is lining their pockets, and then again putting the camera on themselves however they can. That's my opinion on it. Isaac, go.
I mean, capitalism. We've been taught capitalism for such a long time, and so people always make their excuse for being bought or paid for based on capitalism because they feel like the association or the money that they get, they can turn around and do good with it. So you can take the devil's bread and make some holy water out of it, and that's not how it works, you know. And also, I think everybody from my community, even in Atlanta, doesn't always avoid the minority mindset, right? And the minority mindset affects a lot of people. And I just simply say a minority mindset is a person that understands that white people and white supremacy runs everything, and black people fall second and third place at all times, and then they're comfortable with that. But what happens is they're individuals who want to break away from blackness and be surrounded by whiteness. They want to isolate themselves with whiteness. They want to be the only black person in the room when they're talking to people of power. They don't want to bring their people, right? They don't want to be the person surrounded by all black people that empower black people. They want to be the one black person that can breach whiteness and then say, now I've made it. And that's a real dangerous, tricky situation because you will get lost, you will get disconnected. So I think people in that think they're doing good have really lost touch with the fact that you are a black person before where you're from, and that your duty and your responsibility should always be to your people in defense of your people. At you know what I'm saying? So I think it just comes from people that really have fallen into the identity that white is better in some way, shape, or form. That whiteness and white power and white supremacy is better. So I'd rather be aligned with it because I feel like we'll never overcome it than to be succumbed by it. And that's sad because I mean, data shows you that it's not about to be this way. Are we about to chop this power pie up the next 20 years? It's about to be a different America over the next, 2 decades. And so I think people are just trying to have their insurance pie that just in case it goes the other way, I'm safe. And that's not cool.
Not at all. Not at all. Brother Eric.
Yeah, I mean, just to feed off of what he was saying, capitalism, right? Money talk, BS walks. But I think in the minority community, there's no accountability. It's all about what you got, who you dating, who you know, but no one's holding each other accountable. If a guy's popping and he's the man, he says something slick he shouldn't say, the people that feel like they're beneath him won't say anything. They won't hold him accountable. So to the guy who went to go get the bag to elevate his life and his individuality, it's like, yo, let's have a conversation. Like, you got to call him out on his bullshit. Like, bro, last week, you was this. So what is your real intention? Is it for the people? Is it for yourself? And I'm a type of person, I'd rather a person to just be honest. Like, because if that's what it is, then cool, I can leave you alone. Because what I've learned in life, you can't hold people accountable for something they can't be accountable for. I had a friend who would always lie to me, and I knew he was lying to me. So how can I hold him accountable for telling the truth when I know this is what he does? This is his pattern. So I just think accountability, knowing who we're dealing with, and what do we want from all of us, for all of us, because there are people sacrificing, there are people dying for us to live. And there are some people that won't just believe how we feel or even understand, like, Mr. Davis was saying, like, what people been fighting for years. Like, what is Black Power? I had to actually watch Quincy Jones' documentary to really understand what Black Power felt like. I saw it, but I didn't understand the emotion that came. He'd grown up in Chicago in the 30s and all the suffering and stuff he had to go through. So I just think overall, we don't have no real accountability on what we are, what we want, and what are we willing to do. It can't just always be about the money, because there are people with money, but they don't have perspective. You know what I'm saying? And then there's people with a lot of perspective, but they don't have the money. So it's like, how do we bridge the gap? How do we come together and say, look, brother, you're wrong. This is how I see it, and this is why. What do you think? And take it or leave it, because if we don't have no one holding these people accountable, they're just going to always do what they're doing in capitalism. They're going to get the bag. And then we just going to all be starting from ground one. So.
Man, y'all brothers, Craig, you hit something here, man. You know, part of the thing that we talk about with all of the young brothers is the folks that are on Black Man Lab have two qualities. They are successful in our own terms, and they are socially conscious at the same damn time. That's it. We can't, you can't say, well, I'll be successful, then I'll pull my people up. No, 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 no. Don't go down like that. All along the way, you have to be building so that you have the capacity to be successful in your industry. The reality is this: you are so good that it is undeniable that folk want your tracks. They want you on their, they want you a part of their nonprofit work. They want you a part of their business because you're just so good at what you do. That is not an exclusive situation. And at the same damn time, you can be socially conscious and connected to your people. And so I'm just going to say this, man: your oppressors will never fund your liberation. That's why it's so dope when I see Issac doing what he's doing with Fanbase. It's like, yo, when I get off of here, I'm investing in his company, because when I invest in his company, I'm investing in myself. I'm investing in my sons. I'm investing in our family. And we have to see it just that clearly. And so the idea that you can take these folk money and they're gonna just let you do what you want to do with their money in the interest of your people is absurd. It is not based in reality, and people can run that as much as they want, but it's not true. Then the last thing, Eric hit it. It's about accountability. Y'all, I've been saying this, man. I said in all of the different spaces that I'm in, we're in some intense organizing spaces where, if I get caught watching certain things on TV, they'll kick me out. They'll be like, you ain't really woke, But in all of these different spaces, what we lack is a council of elders. We don't have a council of elders. There was a time in our communities that I'm talking about in these yet to be United States. I'm not talking about on the continent. We've had councils of elders where certain things you just like, nah, come here. You got to dispute. Y'all bring it in here. Let's chop it up. And you might sit for hours until it's resolved. And then you say, okay, we're going to go out. Man, people are doing whatever because we don't have this council of elders. So I look forward, Craig, Isaac, Eric, everybody, for us really developing a serious council of elders locally, building a model, and then growing it out across the country so that all of this opportunistic behavior is just, it's so inconsistent, because I'll say this last thing: our liberation, our salvation as a people is a collective struggle. It ain't an individual one. Ain't no one person gonna free us. It's gonna be collective. Everything, every opportunity that all of us had is a result of the masses of our people, the masses, not one person getting a bag and then spreading some loot around. It was the masses of our people who said, yo, we ain't gonna ride this bus. We ain't gonna shop in y'all stuff. We ain't gonna do this until we're gonna hit you in your pocket until your behavior changes towards us collectively. And so, man, I'm this is, go ahead, Isaac. I'm done.
And also, to add to that too, and we're going to migrate to our space and build our wealth and leverage our culture capital in that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's the wave that I think I feel it. I feel we're starting to finally get it. Like, you know what? If we just all picked up and went here, they're gonna follow us. This is ours. Like, we're gonna do this, and that's really where that's where I'm at. So and I'm glad. Like, I'm glad to be seeing that. I'm glad to see people like Pinky Cole with Slutty Vegan. Like, the moves that she's making.
That's my best friend from Baltimore, by the way. She put me on a TV show, so that's crazy. You said that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, powerful.
Like, where she put her restaurants lets you know exactly what her game plan is. Yeah. Where the Edgewood, you know what I'm saying? Fayetteville, like Ralph David Abernathy. She going to Alabama next. She's seeing that, okay, this is not about, okay, I made a hot burger run. Now I'm trying to go kick it with the white folks in Beverly Hills and get a house and do all that kind of stuff because I made it. She's like, no, it's an agenda. And I think that's really, and that's authentic. And the customers that frequent her restaurant know that. And so that's the energy. I love to see that energy. It's dope.
It's man, in Chicago, it's about holding your block. Hold your block. I mean, we are based on in South DeKalb on Flat Shoals Parkway. It's not that we can't afford a Peachtree address. We've intentionally said our folk in South DeKalb, 2 miles from where my law partner grew up, we can do this right here. We can have, when they have to come and take the depositions of our clients on these cases, when they get off the elevator and they see that Malcolm X sitting there in their face, and then they have to walk through all of our African art and come and sit down at our table in our neighborhood. Hey, can we do it downtown? Hell no. Y'all want to take his depot? Come to South DeKalb and we'll get down like that. So I think it's about us holding these blocks, man. And the block is our creativity and our imagination. And we can't just give it to these people anymore. We got to control it. And that's Rapplug, that's Fanbase, that's all that we get to control. That's our block. You ain't going to just pimp us out. We done with y'all doing us like this. And I think that's the power of being influencers and controlling your brand. So, Marty, I know we got to go, man. I know Maurice is going crazy.
But I want to jump on what you said there, Mally, too. One more thing. You talk about controlling our block, but imagine if those blocks connect with one another, right? Imagine that power. Each individual block has amazing power, but imagine when all of these different entities connect and say, you know what, hell no, no more. We are taking our power and using it for the good of the community, not just for the good of self, but for the good of the community, so that comes back to everybody. And it changes the paradigm of what our culture looks like right now. When I say our culture, I mean the world, what it looks like right now. So anyway, we could go on, brothers. We are way over time, but as I said early on, man, I had a feeling that this was going to happen.
I appreciate feedback on that question too. Y'all dug into that thing, boy.
hey, Craig, and we can dig into it even deeper offline because we know. So,
yeah, no, for sure. That was beautiful.
So, but real quick, man, before we go, because you three brothers have been so strong. What we do every week is we ask a question around what are your habits, rituals, and disciplines that you do on a daily basis to keep you moving forward, to keep you in a mindset to do the work that you do and be a positive brother for the rest of the world. So if we could hit that real quick, and then we're going to try to wrap it up here, man. So I'll start with you, Brother Eric. Just give me what your habits, rituals, and disciplines are that you do on a daily basis. Man,
every day, as soon as I get up, I pray, meditate, affirmations, gratitude statements, and I work out. And I just have, extreme faith, and I lead by example by doing and not just talking. So taking action, massive action.
Ashe.
My man, Ashe. Right there with you on those.
By the way, what does that mean? I'm like, are y'all putting me into the cult or something? What am I saying?
That's an affirmative. Yeah.
It's an affirmative. It's a Yoruba word that just affirms. When you look up Ashe, look up Ashe power. It's the power that we have that's in all of us. It's the God power that we all have. Yeah. But check it.
I love it.
You're going to vibe with it. You're going to vibe with it, brother. Trust.
Ashe.
All right.
I love it.
Ashe. Brother Isaac, how about you?
I pray every day. Give thanks for the opportunity to continue to do and be blessed to do, whatever I can in my life. And honestly, as a person that's just such a fan of music, I honestly listen to really, in my sense, positive music. And sometimes that song may be my theme for the week, right? So honestly, I'm gonna be candid right now. My theme for the last probably 4 or 5 days has been "Can You Feel It" by the Jacksons. That's just my energy. I started my raves I see this election coming up. It's just I start with that 4 on the floor.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And that gives you that energy to, you know, it's just positive, you know what I'm saying? And before that, it was Sounds of Blackness, optimistic. It's just I'll play songs like that. It's been
Come on, man.
before. Now you got to pick one every week, just pick one, and that's your soundtrack for motivation. And you know, you just move on to the next one. So there's always a song out there that just keeps your cells like invigorated. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you motivated. So that's just my ritual.
Give me the playlist, please. I need it. Healing frequencies, megahertz. Send it to me. I need some new.
Bro, that's me, man. That is me. I'm Miley to tell you, I'm a music dude. I can spit lyrics from songs from, you know, before I was born, because I listen to the lyrics for the motivation of it, you know, wherever I'm at that point. So, you know, Love Will Find a Way was mine for this week. So I'm with you on that. Appreciate that, brother. Craig.
Yeah.
How about you, bro?
Yeah, I basically wake up every morning with my daughter. I go out, wake her up. It's time for school. And did we just get lost? Did we go?
No,
we're here.
Man, something just said, okay, this is crazy. Yeah, I wake her up for school, and what happens is, man, I pour into her everything that I built the day before, and we pray. I meditate. We pray. I take her to school, and then I come back and build. And the other thing that I do that really enhances me every day is I sit at this piano, which y'all can't see right now, but it's sitting right here. The original gift that God gave me, and I nurture my spirit through the gift of these notes. I tend to play 4 or 5 Stevie Wonder records, since he's the one that really, really nurtured me in the earlier years and gave me all those crazy chords that I had to learn. So that feeds me throughout the day, throughout the week, man, and that keeps me on track.
Hey man, you know you're gonna have to play something right now, Craig. Get on the keys. Get on the keys.
It's a stagecraft situation that ain't even on right now.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Got the ultimate pop. We on set.
Right. Hey, Isaac, yeah, you and I, ready to go, right?
Hey,
that's
bro,
music motivation.
we were getting ready to sing along, bro.
Yeah.
I wish. Hey, next time we're gonna do a whole joint just for you saying that.
Bet.
Hey, we would love that, brother. We would love that.
Night or something. No, let's have an Issac Hayes night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Love that.
I'm with that too.
Hey, listen, we are at the end here, fellas. We have gone far. Miley, I'm gonna hand it over to you to wrap up, man. How we do every week. But before we get to that, I want to say thank you again, brothers. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. And Craig, your question. So when we do this again live, when we finally get back to doing this in person and live, I'm going to task all 3 of you brothers. Every time we have folks on our panel, we say we want you to come to the live space when we are back at the YMCA. So we look forward to doing that in the future, man. Miley, bring us
no
on.
doubt. So brothers, we started with ritual, we close with ritual. We just know that it helps build us, bind us, pull us together. So our final closing ritual was given to us by a sister by the name of Injiri Alghani, a queen mother, organizer in Atlanta for many, many years, who died tragically, but has continued. Her spirit lives. So she would gather us in a room after any meeting. It might be 3 of us. It might be 300 of us. And we would hold hands or lock arms. So I'm going to ask you brothers to take yourselves off of mute. Go ahead, take yourselves off the mute. Put your arms up like we locking arms all around. And then just repeat after me. I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
I am a link
in this chain.
And it won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
Won't
break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are links.
We are links in this chain.
And we won't break here.
And we won't break here.
Ashe.
Ashe.
There you go. All right, Eric. See y'all. Appreciate you, brothers.
Hey, man. Again, appreciate you, brothers. Thank you so much. And
Yes.
we will be in touch soon, man.
All right, appreciate it.
God bless.
I'm buying in right now, Isaac. Save me some now, man.
Absolutely.
I'm buying in too, Isaac.
Okay, for sure.
Isaac, I need the playlist, Isaac. I need to feel the good music, buddy, every week. Come on. What you got? Put it up.
I'll send it to you.
My
All
guy.
right.
For sure.
Isaac O'Malley, we need to know how to buy in, though.
Oh, go to ahead, tell them.
I'll type it in here too. I don't know if you can see it. startengine.com/fanbase. Yeah, that should be it right there. And that's your chance to invest, man. It's a great opportunity, man.
Okay.
We built a really solid product, and we'd love to have everybody on the cap table.
Yep. And with that being said, Eric,
Awesome.
Yes.
Eric, I'll be in LA Tuesday. So I'll reach out to you.
Next week or
Next week.
Next week? Okay. All right. I'm around. Let's think. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Peace, brothers.
See you later.